We begin tonight with that string of violent attacks today.
They happened this morning at stations at Union Square, Astor Place, Brooklyn Bridge, and Columbus Circle. That is where police are questioning 4 suspects right now, and CBS 2's Jessica Layton has the story.
Direction and a little extra protection for subway riders inside the Columbus Circle station Friday night, hours after a man was stabbed in the eye. And on the heels of this particularly violent week underground, the president of the Transport Workers Union had harsh words for the mayor.
He's got blood on his hands. Why don't you just resign?
The Columbus Circle slashing is one of 4 frightening incidents involving razors or knives throughout the subway system Friday. 3 of them happened in a matter of minutes, starting at 4:20 a.m.
A male 44 was on a southbound 4 train when 3 to 5 male suspects approached him and slashed him on the left side of his cheek.
That victim got off at Union Square Station, but cops say the suspect stayed on the train. 5 minutes later, targeting 2 people with a punch and a stab wound. 5 minutes after that, another man was slashed across the cheek.
Some victims were assaulted, and in one incident that was definitely initiated as a robbery, and then it led to a slashing.
Then just before 11:30 a.m., officers recognized the 4 teenage suspects near 79th and Broadway and handcuffed them. The MTA was quick to thank the NYPD for those rapid arrests, but has complained police aren't doing enough. There's been a sharp increase in violence in and around the trains in recent weeks.
But having said that, we've added 100 MTA police officers to the system.
And the NYPD said Thursday it was adding 600 officers. Still, the group Passengers United has a message for commuters: ride at your own risk.
Have a plan of safety. You know, don't keep any valuables on you while you're on the subway. Don't display expensive phones, iPads. Obviously, we have a crisis.
All these attacks and all these concerns about safety happening just a couple of days before the subway service is supposed to go back to 24 hours a day. All the victims stabbed are expected to make a full recovery, but the man who was stabbed in the eye here in Columbus Circle was rushed to the hospital. Reporting from Columbus Circle, Jessica Layton, CBS 2 News.
But we start with the violent commute on the New York City subway. 4 strap hangers slashed, another punched in the face. Attacks the MTA says could have been prevented. Thank you for joining us tonight at 11. I'm Natalie Pascarella.
And I'm David Ushery. We are glad you're with us. This all happened in the span of just over an hour in trains and stations throughout Manhattan. News 4's Checky Beckford is live tonight in Union Square with more on the men arrested and how police say they carried out this early morning crime spree. Checky?
Well, David, charges are pending against the 4 men police say were involved in all of this. They say one of the suspects, though, was arrested just a few months ago in an eerily similar robbery at knife point, but was released on his own recognizance. Subway critics and riders say this is just one more reason that the city needs to do more. It's full speed ahead. 24-hour subway service set to resume in just 3 days.
It's critical that those not riding transit, including New Yorkers and tourists, have confidence in the system.
But MTA Chairman Pat Foy says that can't happen if the violence underground continues. Friday alone, at least 5 people attacked during the morning commute. 4 slashed, 1 man stabbed in the eye.
You have one of these incidents, it's too much, and that's where our, that's where the effort is right now, that we're trying to push back on that.
Police quickly arrested 4 men they believe were behind all the attacks, but witnesses say a 5th suspect may still be out there.
It's not only my members that are getting attacked, it's the public that's getting attacked.
The head of the union for subway workers again laying the blame at the mayor's feet. They and the MTA continuing months-long calls for more police in the city.
They need to have police more down in the subway.
Elizabeth Guerra agrees. She says she doesn't feel safe underground.
These people just come in, because they're more mental. People come in. So at the moment you see them come in, you will sit straight in your seat.
The NYPD has poured more than 600 police officers into the subways in recent months. They and the mayor maintain overall crime is down nearly half, but felony assaults are up from 137 last year to 172 this year. As the number of riders is likely to increase next week, rider advocates worry so will the crime.
Obviously, we have a crisis in our subways that requires mental intervention.
Now, the chairman says MTA police have added 100 more officers to the system so far, and they plan to add more. But he says the main priority of subway policing falls under the NYPD's purview. Now, we have not gotten a response from the mayor's office. We're live in Union Square tonight. Jackie Beckford, News 4, New York.
One after the other, attacks happened on the 4 train early Friday morning as the system reopened. Slashings, assault, robbery. NYPD believes the 4 suspects now in custody are responsible for the repeat attacks.
Here you have the amount of damage that can be done in a half hour by just a couple people. That's where our concentration is, that small number of people that commit these crimes, and it's incumbent upon us with all of our partners to really eradicate it.
Commissioner Shea says one of the victims went to police on patrol at Union Square. Officers helped and called it in immediately. NYPD and MTA were able to check cameras and transmit pictures to officers on the transit beat. Around 11 a.m. at Columbus Circle, a break in the case.
We entered the train on a train patrol, at which time we observed 4 males fitting the description.
Friday's attacks have again focused attention on safety in the subways. Overall crime is down, but so is ridership. Assaults have increased. MTA and transit union officials called again for more police and mental health workers.
People need to feel safe while riding the subways, buses, and commuter rails of the MTA. Period. Full stop. Or else they won't come back to transit, which will depress and hinder the region's economic recovery from this grueling pandemic.
The city, which is in charge of law enforcement in transit, says more than 600 new officers have been surged into the transit system, including another 80 recently.
It's not their job, to bicker. It's their job to deal with operations. Right now, what we have in the subway is an operational situation crisis. We've got to get our resources together, get it under control, get the proper deployment, and do it right.
Officers say deployments are constantly being re-examined. More mental health experts in the system. At Union Square, Greg Mocker, PIX 11 News.
The subway is not safe.
The head of the group called Passengers United says he is so worried that subway violence is escalating just as the subways resume 24-hour service. Sunday morning, 3 more violent attacks occurring between 5:30 and 9:30 a.m. On a northbound number 6 train at Bleecker Street, police say a suspect punched a commuter in the face and fled the scene. 3 hours later at J Street in downtown Brooklyn on a southbound F train, police say a man was robbed at gunpoint. And at Union Square, police say a 56-year-old woman was punched by a 70-year-old woman in an unprovoked attack. And the group Passengers United is also concerned about the growing homeless presence at the 14th Street subway station.
We saw individuals shooting up needles. There were people with shopping carts, people sleeping here. There must have been about 15 to 20 men here. And even downstairs yesterday, it was out of control.
Earlier Sunday, in announcing the return of round-the-clock subway service, MTA Chair Pat Foy called on the city to add 600 to 800 more officers in trains and on platforms, in addition to the 100 MTA police officers and 2,000 NYPD officers in the system every day.
We are asking and continue to ask for additional police resources and mental health resources to be invested in the system. More police officers would bring a greater visible presence to our customers and frankly, to our employees.
And just as subway service returns to round the clock, the midnight curfew for outdoor dining is lifted as of Monday night. And that means restaurants like Cafeteria in Chelsea, which used to be open 24/7, 365 days a year, can begin to serve until the wee hours outdoors.
We are so excited to go out and get back to our normal lives, especially here in New York City.
Yeah, I think that we have to start getting back to some normalcy, and we're happy about it.
And back on the question of the subways and the police officers, PIX 11 reached out to Mayor de Blasio to see if the MTA chair's request for up to 800 more police officers will be met. We have not received an answer yet. We are live at the Union Square subway station. McGee Hickey, PIX 11 News.
To another big step in New York City's comeback. The subway is about to resume 24-hour service, but there are growing safety concerns about using public transit after the recent string of violent crimes. CBS 2's Lisa Rosner is live with more on that from Chelsea. Lisa.
Well, Jessica, tonight is the first time in about a year that trains will keep rolling past 2 a.m. instead of being taken out of service for cleaning. Now, the MTA says that the subway is safe, but not as safe as it can and should be. And we saw that tonight here at the 28th Street station.
You can really feel the sense of optimism.
Sunday afternoon, MTA officials wore shirts promoting a new campaign encouraging riders to take the train and take the bus now that service is back to 24 hours, 7 days a week.
I'm definitely excited at the prospect of being able to take the subway all night long.
But just before 8 Sunday night, there was no excitement at the 28th Street station where we saw a different experience.
He doesn't have any pants on. And he got off the train and he started coming to me, so I got off the train.
Oh, wow.
It's disgusting.
The man went to the edge of the platform with his pants down. In the same station, a man was sleeping at the turnstiles. And
that's concentrated urine on there. There could be a combination of beer, urine. You could smell it.
MTA Chairman Pat Foy says since trains won't stop between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. for disinfecting anymore, they'll instead get cleaned when arriving at a terminal station, and customers will be asked to get off.
We've taken folks out of the yards that used to clean, and now we're focusing them on the terminals.
This cleaner at the 14th Street station says whenever she calls the station manager and police for help, they're responsive.
There's no homeless in this whole station.
At 34th Street, we saw officers patrolling the platform, but the MTA says it's requesting more from the city, about 600 to 800 officers. This comes after Friday, 3 teens were arrested and charged in a series of slashings on the subway, and a 4th is being sought by police. Saturday, a Good Samaritan was bitten and choked on the D train at Columbus Circle, and we just learned police are looking for this man who allegedly punched a 56-year-old woman on a northbound 7 at Queensboro Plaza after she told him to wear a mask.
That is just terrifying.
I used to feel safer back in 2000, 2001.
I feel safe, but my roommate experienced harassment.
One security expert has this advice.
We'll try to get in the conductor's car because the conductor is there and has easier access to law enforcement.
A mayor's spokesperson says the NYPD has the largest transit force in history and says that the MTA asking for more officers is a political move. Separately, the MTA is reminding all riders that it is still a requirement to wear a mask when on the system. Live in Chelsea, Lisa Rosner, CBS 2 News.
All right, Lisa, thank you.